and just seeing how everyone's doing. I'm sorry I didn't get to see your panel. I was just a few rooms away at Comic-Con.
Wow, that's exciting.
With the Masquerade.
Wow, that's fun. Well, we're going to be posting the panel on Mr. Sci-Fi as soon as Dave drops in the clips, and from and that'll be terrific. And
so you didn't miss a thing.
No, we'll
still waiting on the footage, but anytime it gets here.
Yeah, well, bang on Mr. Bartlett, so he has it. So there's that. So okay, so now I'm coming back.
Okay.
Hello, guys. Oh, here we are.
Is there anything you need?
Anything you need, Vince?
Not today. Just wanted to check up and say hey to everyone.
That's great. Well, it's great to see you, and thanks so much for all the great work on Space Command. The world will see your work in the next few weeks when we send it out to all of our backers, and that is going to be extremely exciting. And and onward into the future. I mean, and also, Vince, one thing to mention is if there are skills you're developing that you think could also be of use for Space Command, just let us know, because again, we're not privy to everything that in your brain. And so, so we're very, very open to using as many of your skills as you would like to share. So, so great. So anything else for now?
No, that's it.
Great. Well, 3 cheers. Yay, Vince, everyone. It's Vince. So is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
No, they
oh, wow.
It looks like it just got started, so
okay. Yes, well, here I am.
People are just coming on. Oh, there we go.
Wow, there you are. Yeah.
Actually, we do have a question from Scott Baker.
Great.
Coming in a clinch. Does anyone know the best data recovery program for a Mac-to-Mac rescue?
Wow. I don't.
Wow.
Well, that's something to maybe put out.
Dave Edison or...
Yeah, we don't know. Mac to Mac, David?
McAfee
McAfee
makes one. It's not that cheap, but it works. I'd have to look into what's out now, because
cool.
The older stuff that I was used to using they're probably updates, but I can check it out.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. So okay.
I've used Data Rescue, and it's it's hit and miss. Mac is a little strange in this regard. If you delete something, it doesn't delete it; it just hides it, but it knocks out the navigation. So even when you rescue things, they're not really named what they are.
Yes.
You've got thousands of files. They just could be named randomly.
Yes.
Like video 1, video 2, video 3, 1,000.
Yes.
Sometimes Disk Warrior is a really good one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
It's designed for recovering drives.
It
also recovers files and repairs forks, and it does all kinds of things. So you could end up in great shape with that, and you could also end up like I did once and not recover anything. So it's really like Dave said, it's hit and miss.
Yeah, yeah, and the real answer to that is always back up everything as much as possible on other drives, on the cloud. I mean, don't have all your data in one place. So in other words, if you have put a copy of everything on a drive and store it with a friend, as well as the cloud, because once China or Russia takes out our satellites, there goes the internet. And so don't assume that anything is 100% secure. And a friend of mine bought a fireproof safe, and he had a fire. And unfortunately, he'd put $50,000 in cash in that safe. And after the fire was over, he opened up the fireproof safe, and the money was all burnt up. So there you go.
But the safe was perfectly intact.
The safe was incredible. The safe was incredible.
I had a fireproof safe once, and my garage flooded. So there you go.
There you go. There you go. Well, that's a humorous story. So, and David, I don't know if you were aboard when Dave Edison was mentioning that as soon as you send him the footage of the panel, he can drop in the clips. So, of the San Diego Comic-Con panel, and then we can post
That's
on.
An Inez question that already was supposed to be in your hands.
Oh, okay. So great. So then, so just follow up with Inez, and we'll make it happen. So good. So let's see. So Thane, you're next on my screen. So if you want to take your turn, and that'll be good.
I'm actually not muted for once. I'm Thane Allison, SAG-AFTRA character actor. I had an audition on Friday, and on Monday I had a callback via Zoom, which was
a lot of fun.
Hmm.
I had some consultation with our friend Adam on the dialogue that Shrek uses, which put me a long way down the road. But apparently, I didn't get the role because it's going to shoot on Sunday, and I've not heard anything back.
Huh.
But anyway, it was fun, and it's always fun, and the Zoom callbacks are so much more satisfying than the just self tapes. And it's almost like being back in the room. Not quite, but anyway, and just moving along towards the next project, wherever that is, or whatever's going on. And, trying to stay healthy and out of mischief and ready to go when the time comes.
Great.
I'm looking for an online acting class, and I came across something today that might be worthwhile.
Cool.
Great.
Cool. Well, good luck with that. So, anything else?
That's about it.
Okay.
Cool. Yay.
Came and went, and
Huh? What thing?
Thanksgiving came and went, and
It did.
Was it good for you? Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
it was very quiet. I helped make 2 pies.
Oh.
That's good.
Pumpkin pie and a mincemeat pie. I had to go out in the ravine and catch those little minces and
Cool.
skin them. And I've got enough pelts now to make a hat that has earmuffs. So the pelts are really soft this time of year.
Well, great. Good to see you, Thane, as always. So 3 cheers. Yay. Excellent. So, Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
It's strangely enough, those minces taste a lot like apples.
Yes.
Anyway, no new questions right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. So, I guess you're next on my screen, Adam, if you want to take your turn and,
Sure. I
Sure.
can get going. Do my turn here.
Yes.
Hi, I am Adam Sartain, a voice actor with over 78 different voices, accents, and impressions.
Great.
And I also work on Space Command.
Yay!
I'm wearing my Space Command Studios
Yay.
t-shirt.
Excellent.
Oh.
That's great.
that I got in our last Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah. Great. They were supposed to send me one of those. I never got it. So
That's weird. All the other ones were sent.
Well,
I don't know. We'll
I
have to
guess-
talk to Todd about that.
yeah. But go ahead, please.
But anyway, so this week has been interesting. I caught a little bug. I don't think it's COVID because my symptoms started on Monday night and they're pretty much gone now. So
Interesting.
it was a quick. It reminded back in the day before COVID, there were these little things called sinus infections.
Yes.
I used to get them a lot, and I think that's what it was.
Okay. Cool.
I'm very happy it wasn't COVID, but
Yes.
I'm gonna get tested just to be sure.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Anyway, so there's that. I did do a voiceover audition. I haven't heard back from them yet, but that was just Wednesday, so you never know. And then, I got a surprise little Christmas bonus from the people at 1 Minute History.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
That's
I
great.
did a lot of their videos.
Wow.
Voiceovers for their videos, and they sent me a little Christmas bonus.
Oh,
So
great.
that never happens in this industry. So I'm
great.
very, very excited and happy about that. And then I missed Comic-Con because I had to be with family.
Mhm.
That thing. My sister-in-law wanted to have it have Thanksgiving on the Saturday on that same day. So there's no way I could have gotten out of it. And I'm glad I went. I got to visit with my nephews and have fun.
Yeah.
They bought an amazing prime rib, and so it was really good.
That's great.
But I'm looking forward to this weekend with LA Comic-Con, and also I'll be emceeing the Los Angeles Animation Festival.
That's great.
With Miles, and so that'll be fun. And then what? Oh, and of course, we're in the midst of Santa season. So I have a little business that I call Santa Sessions. I do virtual Santa Claus visits. So if you know any people with Santa age children, that children that believe in Santa Claus and would like to have a full 10 minutes to ask them whatever you want, interact with them, talk about the different movies that are out there, or you can even have a sing-along or have Santa read you a story. It's really great stuff. I'll put the link in the chat.
Cool.
For
Great.
that. And it's had rave reviews. Everybody absolutely loves it. It's a wonderful experience.
Cool. That's great. So anything else?
I think that's all for me.
Yay! 3 cheers.
One more thing. Because of I do have Santa gigs coming up, in-person Santa gigs coming up next week and the week after. So I won't be able to attend any table meetings for the next couple weeks.
Okay. Thanks for letting us know.
I'll still put out the email and it'll go through my Zoom, so you can go as long as you want. But it's
terrific.
I won't be there.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yep. Thank you, Adam. Yay, Adam! 3 cheers. And is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question yet?
Let's take a look. We have a question from Fit to be read.
Great.
What Silverberg novel would you most recommend someone to sell them on the author?
It's been a long time since I've read Robert Silverberg. Gosh, Dying Inside is supposed to be good. I would have to refresh my memory on his work. I would definitely suggest work that he did, like maybe in the late 60s through the 70s. That's probably his best period. Early Silverberg was kind of very generic because he was writing so much. So that's what I would say. Dying Inside. What else is good? I would just, kind of maybe look over what people have said regarding various books, maybe go on Amazon and see if they have like 4 stars, 5 stars, whatever. But he's still around, and that's pretty cool. You can meet him at Worldcon and things like that. So he's a nice guy. I've known him for a number of years. So let's see. So Judith is there. So why don't we take you, Judith? Because I know you have to go in the near future. So and if you unmute, you can unmute. We can't hear you. Nope, not yet. There you go. Good.
Hi, guys. How are you? How nice to see everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I had some very important guests.
Yes.
Nothing like a cold, wet nose and a waggy, furry tail.
Yay.
For the whole weekend, it was such a joy. I can't tell you. It was extremely therapeutic.
Yes.
So everything's going okay. As you can hear, the voice is coming back. I'm even starting to sing. I'm starting to walk without the walker outside. And my movie is going to be released, I think, December 15th.
Yay.
I saw a scene from it. Oy vey. Oh, God, do I look like a corpse. But it's fun. I'm working on doing some work on my scripts. I'm tweaking. And David Bartlett and I are going to have lunch at some point.
Lovely.
I sent an email. He's very kindly, I'm going to start tweaking my little pet with the notes that he gave me. Thank you, David. And what else? I'm working on my audiobook demo because I think I'm going to be ready for that.
Cool.
My manager is going to start sending me out in January. I'm a little hoarse, a little flat. And that's it. Things are moving forward, in a way that I did not think they would for a year. My doctor told me I would not be walking for a year.
Wow.
Okay. And I'm doing it in, let's see, June, July, August, September, October, 5 months. Actually, 4 months.
Wow, great!
So,
Congratulations.
I'm happy. I'm happy. There's a poem called Invictus,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very helpful. You know, when you're down and out, it really charges you up. But I want to again thank everybody for their support. You know, the table is just a wonderful. You guys did a real mitzvah. You know,
Thank you, Judith. What I was going to say is the greatest loss to poetry was when they did away with the Burma shave signs. You know, so that was only the older people would get that joke.
And that's it.
Okay.
It. As a matter of fact, I'm actually going to go see a movie. Sit in a theater.
Oh, wow.
Next week.
Great.
I don't know what I'm going to see, but I think Christine and I are going to see a movie.
Cool.
So progress is happening. Thank you, Belinda. Thank everybody for their wonderful support. Just knowing I have the table gives me something to fight for. You know.
Yes.
It's really something.
Great.
I am a warrior, Elaine. I am.
Yes, you are.
I intend to continue being.
Great. Well, 3 cheers. Yay. Great.
Yay.
Thank you, Judith. Yay, Judith. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes. Our next question is a interesting Scott Baker question. For Mr. Sci-Fi / Mr. Politics, because I guess it fits in both realms.
Okay.
So, so it's about deep fake technology.
Yes.
So it's what do you think the public reaction will be to the first major politician who knowingly uses a deep fake video, passing it off as real to disparage an opponent?
Well, if you want to see a really great use of deepfake, during the moon landing, they'd actually provided Nixon with 2 speeches, one if they were successful and the other is if they died. And so they recently did a deepfake of Nixon delivering the speech where they died. And it's astonishing. You would never know it was a fake. And so, you know, it's inevitable that people are going to start using deepfakes, and it's malicious and terrible and wrong. And, you know, I mean, right now, with so many politicians getting away with, you know, things you would never thought they would have gotten away with, it just becomes, you know, whatever people can get away with is what they get away with now. And that's really a shame. It lowers, I mean, you know, I don't think anybody should be threatening to kill anybody, for instance. And I think, you know, that should be regardless of party, regardless of anything. No one should threaten someone with death. And, you know, but I think the more that people are excused their bad behavior, the more it increases bad behavior. So, you know, so that's a shame. But the deepfake technology is extremely problematical, and it will only become more so as time goes on. So, you know, yeah, absolutely. So let's see. So Dave, I guess Dave is next. If you want to share your wisdom with us, as ever.
Oh, sure. That won't take long. Hi. Hello, everyone, and Mr. Sci-Fi people. I'm Dave Edison, your friendly neighborhood editor here at Space Command Land. And we're just getting a step closer every day. Okay, sometimes a step is only a frame, but, you know.
Yeah.
Eventually, hey, you get 24 of those, you end up with a second.
Mazel tov.
So we're heading towards moving towards the first 2 hours as a feature.
Yes.
We showed some of it at the some clips here and there at the Comic-Con panel, and I wasn't there, but I'll take a look at the video as soon as I get it. I'm looking forward to it. But the thing I did want to mention is that the score that we were able to put on the clips from David Raiklen that he recorded with an orchestra is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's really.
So it really brings a new dimension to it. So I'm looking forward to that. And our sound designer Dean Hovey has the couple of reels that he's looking at. Actually, I probably have to coordinate with David Bartlett to get the rest of the footage to him. and he's moving forward. Other than that, for your holiday pleasure, might want to check out my book, The Man with the List.
Yay!
For your non-religious friends among you, it's on YouTube at. If you go to YouTube and punch in Man List Picture, you can find my picture book, and which I read to you. And if you want a physical copy, there's a link to Amazon on it. But
cool.
I hope your faithless friends enjoy that. And they're just moving on, just trying to keep busy, trying to stay healthy, and looking forward to good things this holiday season. And a good 2022 is next. Is that possible? 2022?
Oh, Jesus, yes.
Yeah, wow.
Yes, where's my flying car?
My dad died 20 years ago this week.
Wow.
And he was 33 when I was born.
Wow.
Coincidentally, this was really amazing coincidence. He was 33 years older than me when he died. I'm not sure how that works. And I did the math, and now I'm only 13 years younger than him when he died.
Well, there you go.
So if anybody asks, math is not our friend.
No. Come on, Rudy. Come on.
No. Anyway, stay well, and I will talk to you next time.
Great. Thank you, Dave. Yay, Dave Edison, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Elaine?
Hi, guys. I think I have to walk my dog.
Yeah.
Because he's making
whining.
a big geschrei.
Yes, he's being
so,
a jerk.
If you'll excuse me, I'm going to go out into the cold, which I don't want to
Sorry
do.
about that. You want me to do it?
No.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I don't mind. Okay. There you go. There you go. Exit stage left.
Sweetie.
Rudy.
No,
These guys. Okay, I think, but in terms of Dave Edison's book, you can see the animated version that Dave did a while ago on Mr. Sci-Fi, and also it's a perfect Christmas present or Hanukkah present for anyone, given the fact that it's an atheist children's book. So
you may want to use it to light the candles.
Yes, if you don't want to have politics at your Christmas celebration, get that book, and that'll start an argument, a whole different argument. So, so that's well worth doing. So, but thank you, Dave. So, do we have another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, we do.
Cool.
Juan Suros has joined the chat.
Hi.
And he asks, what do you think of dystopia stories where every act is recorded on video, like Lacey and his friends, or the Obsidian Order?
Well, the challenge is always with any story. You have to figure out if a character is isolated, how does he tell the story? How do you get the information? Like in The Martian, he's talking to a video recorder. Prior to video recorders, you had people who would either doing internal monologue or speaking, talking to themselves. It doesn't bug me. I'm just sort of anything that tells a story that's engaging and interesting. I'm fine with. I don't, that's not something that really worries me at all. And I just think but in the real world, I'm really, really, really glad that everyone has video recorders now, because that was never postulated in science fiction, that everyone would have a video camera in their pocket. And so as a result, a lot of stuff that didn't used to have physical evidence now does. Cops killing people, and you name it. There's tons of stuff now that we can all see, that anyone in the world can see, and that's all to the good, I think, because it leans everything toward justice, I believe. So there you go. So now it's David Bartlett, ladies and gentlemen. David Bartlett, yay! Go for it.
Everyone, I'm David Bartlett. I am a filmmaker. I am a human rights activist and a teacher, and I'm also a producer on Space Command.
Yay!
So, I had some interesting things happen in my personal career life, which I don't talk about much because I don't have much of one in a certain way. On the other hand, I've worked on Pulp Fiction and Speed and Total Recall and a whole bunch of giant studio movies, and I've won 64 film festival awards with my own films and work. So I can't talk bad about that.
Right.
But I've just had a new leap forward, in my opinion. I am now officially a member of the TV Academy.
Wow! Congratulations.
Emmy Academy.
Wow.
Yes, I found out that because I got an Emmy nomination this year for Rekindling Christmas, which was a daytime feature that was done. James Gannier was my partner on that, and he's already been a member for a long time. So I said, I wonder, because the Academy, the Motion Picture Academy, you can't join with a nomination alone, believe it or not. You have to. If you win, you get to join automatically. You still have to petition if you're nominated, but not with the TV Academy. They think if you're good enough to get nominated, you're good enough to be a member. So I started the application. I filled it out. I'm waiting. Nothing's happening. What's happening? So it turned out that they were waiting for me to give them one more email, and I was on hold the whole time. So I did that, and a day later, I got the application. I paid it, and 2 days later, I'm a member. So there you go.
Wow,
that was cool. So I get to get the screeners and vote and go to all kinds of events and things like that. And I like to get involved with things like, in particular, I really enjoy restoration. Like I would join the Motion Picture Academy just to be able to be on the panel that handles restorations. So I think that's really important.
Wow.
Not a lot of silent TV movies or shows, but they still have all sorts of old things that haven't been restored yet. People that put their shows on kinescopes, which are like paper copies of videotapes and things like that, and they're still around and they still can be played with the sound and everything, which is kind of a miracle. So I think there's a lot of good stuff out there that can be restored that has not been. So I'm gonna look into that. So let me see. So Space Command, we had Comic-Con this weekend, as you guys have heard some of already. We had almost more people on the panel than in the audience, but at the last minute, the audience that was right before us had stayed over. We had a pretty decent crowd and a lot of spirited questions and people coming up afterwards to get autographs of our little mini poster. And it was a fun time was had by all. I have a great picture of what Comic-Con looks like right now. I'll dig this up while I'm talking. But I went with Howard Benjamin and we took the train, which is lots of fun. I've never done that before. And here are some fun pictures of what it's like to take the train from Union Station.
Neat.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I'll give you the here's a picture of Howard about to get on the same train, which is fun. We had a good time. Although we were competing to see who could snore the loudest and keep each other up the loudest, and apparently I won. But hard to say because it's difficult without a proper judge. So here is my favorite picture of the Comic-Con experience from 2021. Coming up here in just a second.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Hard to see. There we go. That is the Grand Hall where it's usually packed with people trying to find a way to get a badge to get in. And Howard is there, and we were one of maybe 5 people at that point. So that was kind of fun. And I wanted to pretend like this is our meeting room, but it wasn't, even though it's a fun picture. And then Howard had me take this picture. I'm not quite sure why, but I think it could provide useful for any number of people at different times. There it is, a sign on the floor. So anyway,
cool.
The thing about these Comic-Con events is that you never know. You think, oh, I shouldn't go because there won't be many people, or I shouldn't go because of this or that, or I'm too tired, or I've already been there 5 times. You never know when you're going to meet someone that might make a difference. And Tahani Farr, who does all our illustrations for the comic books, was there, and I wanted to work on something with me, but we hadn't really had a chance to talk at all. So I stayed the next day and I saw her in her booth. So we actually had to sit and had a conversation in detail about different things. And first of all, she's a very deep, interesting person. She's also a little twisted, which if you see her pictures, you kind of get the idea. But she was discussing her approach to the pictures, and she said she was always disappointed when she had to put the clothes on them. I'm like, that's odd. But it's not odd because she does a whole other set of drawings and illustrations in that more sexy vein that I wasn't even aware of. So the amount of talent she has is even more impressive than it was. And I know her even a little bit more better, so we could talk about things more effectively next time. And, we're just better friends. So that trip was worth it just for that, for me. Not to mention that we got very likely an investor and some other benefits out of that we wouldn't have had if we had not gone. So anyway, I strongly recommend going to these things if you have the opportunity.
Great.
Now, Space Command is gearing up to do some shooting in the spring, and we have a lot of work to do on sets, especially with construction and painting. In fact, I could use people doing painting right now. I'm looking for someone that can do LED lights. LEDs have a 12-volt capacity, which is an entirely different way to think than the 110 volts that comes out of the wall. So it takes someone who understands that, and I'm looking for that person now. Eric Kionis, who's our friend and has worked with us for a long time, has work. Like almost everyone else I've talked to recently, everyone's working. That's a good thing for the film industry in general, but we need to have some people working with us too. So if you all know anybody in those areas, please let me know. And if you're one of those people, also let me know.
Great.
Now, table email. I do the table email. I can get you set up for the table email. If you're a brand new person, you don't know what that is, you're about to find out. And if you know what it is, but you're not on it, I can definitely help you get that done. And if you're having troubles with it, I also take care of that too. If you happen to know the secret other members of my inner society of the table email, please don't contact them directly, because the reason that we have is quiet about this is that we want to have as minimal traffic on people's lines as possible, because when the table's on the live event, when it goes to Marie Callender's, or in this case, Patty's, we're coming up around the corner for that, and we start to get 40 or 50 people attending every week, it can be a real mess. And people bothered by things, and we're all volunteers. No one gets paid for any of this. So come to me first. I will sort it out. I will get you going, and we usually have this handled very quickly. I've had some people get on the table email before I was done with the meeting, and that was fun. We did that one time. So anyway, that's it. Email me, and this includes, by the way, our Mr. Sci-Fi friends. You guys can all join too because of our unique situation here with the COVID. So my email, which you would send it to me to request, DaveFilms, DaveGefilms @hotmail.com. And all you need is your own first and last name and a unique email that doesn't have any, you can have numbers and codes, but you can't have any nicknames or anything like that. So you say your first and last name and anything but Yahoo. We can't use Yahoo. Yahoo is from the dark side. I don't know why, but it doesn't work. And anything else will work. So send me that and I will get you set up and get you going. And that's it.
Yay. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, our next Mr. Sci-Fi question is from Lo-Fi Guy, who asks, continuing the subject of deepfake, would you use it on Space Command? Say for an actor who can't complete their role.
It's a little dicey, because you have an agreement with an actor. You want to be respectful, but so not necessarily deep fake. In certain cases, we're using avatars of, for instance, Ethan McDowell, if he's going down a staircase from the Paladin or something, or if it's an action scene where he might be endangered, but that's a different thing. I mean, again, it's case by case, but these are your partners and your collaborators, and you don't want to misuse them or violate their trust. So that's my thought on that one. So Galinda, I've been noticing the great Rod Serling thing behind you, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. Is that right? And so it's your turn. Go for it, please.
Sorry, I was clicking on the wrong my red microphone there for that. Yes, I really love having a projector and a projector screen. This makes for a very cool effect. And I flip it backwards and I sleep behind it and play Deep Space Nine while I sleep. So I'm in my holodeck.
That's fun.
What I tend to do is I'll rotate around with usually a different Twilight Zone picture, but sometimes I'll get a wild hair. Yeah, somebody doesn't like being left out of the meetings.
Yeah.
My name is Galinda. I am customer support for Electronic Arts currently and aspiring to be a writer and hopefully filmmaker sometime soon. I've had some really neat discussions. A friend of mine, I'm basically going to have to name him collaborator when I write this other story because he keeps giving me these really cool ideas and interesting things. Sent me an article on that scientists are playing with liquid light now.
Wow.
And so I'm on a tear to find out exactly what it can do, because I don't want to just incorporate something in the sci-fi story and make everything up about it. I kind of want to, make stuff up around the right track.
Yes.
But, it does sound like there's so much new and interesting and amazing stuff to look at. And then I turned around and I found an old story that I don't know if I've ever heard the original before. The People of the Cave are the Seven Sleepers, or two different versions of the name. And I realized that I've already seen this trope in 100 different science fiction things, whether it was a book or a movie or, there's a couple Twilight Zone episodes based on people going to sleep and waking up a few hundred years later.
Yes.
It's like, how do I utilize that in a way nobody else has done before? So I'm kind of on that track. I want to have something really new and crazy that I just make up. And then I want to try to rehash something that's been done a few times and, but try to do it in something a different way. So I'm a little all over the place. But my roommate's move is going well, which means when they get out, then I can, start getting my stuff out of here. And, so when I have options, so I'm not really concerned about where I'm going to be. More likely, I'm worried about my skin right now. Hello, 18 pounds of cat. Yeah. This is my baby. Hey, and he's not really my cat. He's her cat. I went with the Humane Society to adopt him. Little tiny kitten. He fit on my fingers. Just sit on my fingers when he was tiny. And I've spoiled him very effectively. And but yeah, he thinks I'm his. I'm one of his people anyway. You don't own a cat. They order you about and keep you busy.
Yes.
But yeah, nothing, no huge moves forward in any of my projects, but I do have some, things that are really starting to come together that I think are going to work pretty well.
Cool.
Still looking for a decent camera. That's probably going to be always.
Okay. So great. Well, it's good. It's good to see you as always. And
you're looking for a camera. You just one or two specifics.
Well, I mean, since I'm going to be broadcasting on YouTube, I don't need, I know it doesn't need to be as high res as if I were going to go for, film movie theater type stuff. But I have like 5 or 6 cameras around here, and there's not one of them has a decent resolution. The best one is the one on my phone, which is probably what I'm going to be using a lot.
They got some really good resolution on those phones now. Yes.
Yeah, the newer ones, and not the forward facing one as much, but the other one, the actual phone camera one, is usually pretty good. And these are decent. I have a couple of them, and I've got places to hang different ones, so I can get different angles and stuff. And I'm gonna make use of different resolution cameras, so different angles may look like this one's not gonna be as high res because that's coming over a screen. So. The variety, but I do want to be able to blend them together well. That's going to take a little bit of work. Relearning my editing skills would be fun.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I've got, as far as the creative angle of it, I've got two writer friends who do, they're very prolific, do a lot of blogging and stuff. So, I bounce my stuff off of them and they throw stuff at me, and it's like, I'm going to have to name so many people as collaborators, and I don't care. I'd rather share.
That's great. Okay. Well, welcome. Yay.
And I did want to mention, Judith, you are such an inspiration. I really did want to get more involved here so I could get to know you a little better. And I've been burning sage for you and cheering you on. And I am just thrilled to hear your voice coming back for you. And I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, you're a doll.
Good.
Oh, I really appreciate it. I really do. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, well, yes.
During the days of dawn.
Oh, you're coming in and out, Judith.
It was great.
Okay, well.
There we go.
Okay, so Mark had to step out with the dogs because they wouldn't go with me and they wouldn't go away. So Assad, I believe you're next because we'll hold off on.
Why wouldn't they go with what?
I don't know. They're sometimes they're usually they go.
Why wouldn't they? What can they get away with? What can they get away with Mark that they can't get away with you?
It just varies. Sometimes they'll go with me and not with him, and they're just weird. But
it's almost
Rudy,
like they're dogs.
I know they're dogs, but Rudy dug in his little heels, and I thought, well, okay, it was a fake out. He just wanted attention, but then he started wanting to go down again. So they're dogs. So, but Mark just took them, and should be around the block pretty quickly, and then we can return to Mr. Sci-Fi as soon as he gets back. And so I guess Mr. Assad, are you next on the screen? Okay, great.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
How is everybody today?
Good.
My name is Assad. I was recommended to check the group out by Christy Bergeron. We met at a different networking event.
Oh, okay.
So glad to see everybody. Today happens to be my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank
Yay.
you. So I'm officially 30 years old now. So the big 3-0.
Oh no. how horrible.
But I'm a comic book writer.
Oh, okay.
And I'm now transitioning into writing for, screenplays for film and television. I've done a little bit of acting, but I mostly focus on writing. And I've also helped out doing set dressing. I live in New York, so I'm here in New York, and I've helped out doing set dressing for various productions in New York City. Netflix, HBO Max, Apple, all the big productions. So I've been on quite a bit of stuff.
And what kind of how are you doing with that transition that you're in the middle of?
It just started very recently. So I just I have my comic books, and I'm just now like doing the outlining and the drafting, getting ready to write the scripts for all of the comics that I have, so that I have some originals. And also somebody earlier was talking about going to Comic-Con, and I actually have a lot of experience doing that. I've been going to Comic-Con since 2015, selling my books. And I've hosted a lot of like different panels. I host all the time. I host panels with like, actor guests and other people that have worked on various productions. I remember one of the first ones I did was the Walking Dead panel. I hosted that, which, we had Rusty Gilligan on, who was one of the storyboard artists that worked on there. And some of the actors that have played in roles, or even some of the actors that have played some of the zombie characters, like the walkers, as they call them. So, that was one of the first panels. And just I've done so many more since then. So I have a lot of experience, at Comic-Con, hosting these panels, talking in front of the crowd. It's always a great time. So if you can make it out to those shows, I definitely recommend it. I love going out.
That's great. Now, you know that there's a table. There's a table in New York, parallel to our table.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
But I also plan on going out to LA eventually as well.
Great. Well, the good thing is that there are lots of supportive resources, because it can be tough breaking into that side of the industry, but because it's all about a matter of who you know. But there's a tremendous networking opportunities, including the fact that table members will, once you finish your script and you want to hear it, you can cast from the table and just say, I'm looking for people for a table read, and you can do it via Zoom. And I know I always get a lot of surprises when I hear it read out loud. Things that I think are obvious, people get confused. Things that I think don't quite work beautifully. So it's kind of fun, and it's very helpful sometimes to just hear it by bringing together actors. So, but okay, well, welcome, and good luck with the transition. It can be challenging, but a lot of fun. But welcome to the table.
Thank you.
Sure.
Happy to be here. Happy to meet everybody.
Okay, so I guess hopefully Mark will be back with Mr. Sci-Fi soon. Carol, would you like to hop in while we're waiting for Mark?
Sure. Thank you again for being here, Elaine. I think of the phrase in loco parentis, which is Latin for in place of the parents. So I kind of look at you as my in loco parentis. Sorry, but I do. I'm very available for table reads. This was really fun. I was referred to two people in San Diego. They're both in script teasers. One is just writes, but the other has lots of money behind them. And they wanted me for both of their table reads, so I did it last week. It was so much fun. The first one, I played an ungrateful daughter. The second one was typecast. It was a sex worker. She was a full-out sex worker, but I played her completely against type. I didn't play her sultry at all. I just kind of played her. So, and the writer appreciated it. He said, boy, I didn't know she had so much dimension. I went, when you wrote it. But I played her completely against type. It was so much fun, and they have money. So, I don't know. It was really nice. this is very weird. I met this woman at American Film Market a couple of weeks ago who lives in Australia. She does a bunch of things and she has a publication there. They want me to be on their podcast. Having been an actress in New York and doing all the other things now. They're going to podcast me next week.
Great.
Isn't that fun?
That's
fun. It's called
fun.
and then it's going into their publication, Upahole Publications. I'll let you know if you're interested. But it'll be just so much fun to do. I don't know, it's kind of ego-centered, but what a fudge. A couple things. Yeah, one I wanted to ask Mark, where's my list? I'm just going to rant a little bit for a second.
Sure.
It's never hard for me to get an agent as an actress. When I was shooting at McDonald's, there were 3 agents on the set. 2 wanted to get me away from Talent Group. This is how easy it was for me to get an agent in New York or here. As now that I'm also writing, it's a needle in a haystack that's you can't even find the haystack. I just needed to rant because I met this agent's interested in some of my stuff, and she has such a regional accent. I hate to say it, and a speech impediment, both so strong that I don't think I'd want her representing me. And she's much older too. She knows her stuff, but I know. Do you believe it's like going up to the cheap seats? It's like on a regular basis. I'm not excited about that. I'm just ranting. I have a list. Mark might know this. David Bartlett, are you still on?
Yes.
Hi, David. This is the weirdest thing. I watched the most beautiful movie last night. I was reminded how much I loved it as a child, Pollyanna. So excellent, so excellent. And as I looked at it, I said, was that the original, David Bartlett, do you know this, or David? Was it the original Technicolor that they used? Because the color was so vibrant and way more beautiful than our movies of today. And it was shot in 1960 or something. So I think Technicolor was still very much on the market.
Yeah, and it's difficult to tell what you saw. There might have been a dub or a copy or a version of them, but they were so good to begin with. They usually do a lot better.
Yes.
Well,
yeah, I mean, Haley Mills was that. She won all these juvenile awards. She was so wonderful, and the movie was so good, and the colors were so extreme. So yeah,
big hit. The film was a big hit.
Such a big hit. It was so huge.
When Technicolor first came out, one of the little ditties that was being used was, "After views in Technicolor, nature's hues seem somewhat duller."
Wow! Look at you, this lexicon. Wow.
It's interesting when you think about Technicolor because a lot of people don't realize that it was this amazing color film using black and white film. I mean, the color film really hadn't been developed yet, but it was this brilliant trick to get color out of black and white film.
In 1960, they still hadn't?
Well, when Technicolor first came out.
Oh, probably the 30s, yeah.
Oh, no, that took
even earlier experimentally.
Color film came out in the 30s, and the first color film was Becky Sharp was in 1927, I think.
Listen to him.
But the Technicolor was 3 different negatives, 1 red, 1 green, and 1 blue, RGB. And they were literally strips of black and white film with 1 color pasted to them. And they only read 1 color, but when you combine them together in post in a machine, color made a new negative with all 3 colors and blended them perfectly together. And it was a look that was different than actual nature.
Yeah. I'm looking at it last night. What am I missing, or what do I know? I said, yeah. All right. So what I'm going to end this with, because I did this last year, and I can't believe it's been a year. I'm going to light the Hanukkah candles.
Oh well, okay.
Okay, if you don't mind, because I don't have anyone here to light them for. So join me in the Barucha. I'll start real low if I can. I usually start too high in my head. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik shel Hanukkah.
Oh, thank you, ladies. Thank you.
It's the Festival of Lights. It's 8 days because the temple oil burned for 8 days, and it's a very violent holiday, as is Thanksgiving and so many others, because the Greeks wanted the Jews to be pagans and to knock down their temple, and the Maccabean Jews said, "No, we're not." And they were a smaller army, and they said, we're not going to knock down our temple for you, and we're not going to bow to your effigies. So it's really, it's quite an intense holiday when I think that we're running around cutting out menorahs and stuff and, dancing around the menorah tree. It's like, look what they went through. Can we appreciate what they went through for a second? So I think that's all for tonight. And I wish you, Judith, I'm so glad you sound amazing. Your voice is you sound fantastic. And I'm so glad we're all here, really. I am. Watch that friggin' variant, you guys. Just be careful.
Okay.
Just be careful. Thank you, Elaine.
Well, thank you. And you should know that one way to help you find an agent is to really make a study of the work that you really like, and see who represents the people who do that work. Because if it's something that resonates for you, you may resonate for them. Then find out if you see who, if you see who's done the work, and then again do a little research and say, okay, who did the work? Who represents the people who put together that movie? And then once you say, okay, these are the people who represent the people who made the movie or the television fair that you really like, then you start asking to say, does anybody have an in at that specific agent or manager? Now, a manager will help you find an agent, and it's a little bit easier to get on as a newbie with a manager who will help you find an agent. But try and backward engineer to get a good fit and a credible representative. So start with what's the best, what's the stuff you really love, who created that stuff, who represents them, and then you know who to go after.
I appreciate that, because this one woman with her New Orleans patois, I kept saying, excuse me, I beg your pardon, excuse me. It's like, how does, that's not a good idea.
No, the way we
statistician in the back room or something.
Oh God, no. It's always best to backward engineer and to be really methodical with this stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because people are doing just throwing darts, and it's not.
Yeah, no, that, and there are many sweet, well-meaning people who put up their plaque as an agent or a manager, and they simply have no access. So, I mean, they can make a call, but it wouldn't be any better than the call you'd make.
No, you're right. I'll keep you posted. Okay. Yes, that's really helpful.
Okay, yay. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Mark seems to be, yes.
We do have some questions for you, Elaine.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd be happy to answer a question for me.
Yeah.
Hello.
Scott Baker wants to know how things are going with the Unreal Engine grant.
Well, with the Unreal Engine grant, it was odd. We got to someone to say exactly what is it they want that we weren't getting, that we were trying to get the details. And what they wanted to be able to get the grant was, unfortunately, the use of LED screens. It was basically, if you already have a lot of money and you're using LED screens, which is the top of the line. I mean, Unreal Engine goes very well with green screen, but they didn't want that. They wanted it to look really, really good. So it's like, who has a lot of money, has other money, and it's all going to look great and could use just a little more money. And so that's what they ended up wanting. And our thought was, well, if we have to use LED screens, that just takes too much away from our design, our acting, our actors and so forth. And so it seemed to us like they were very nice in telling us what they wanted, but it just felt like a very bad fit given our priorities. So right now we've backed off that, and we're looking for other money, but we just backed off because it seemed they really wanted, like The Mandalorian, they wanted well-established people, and they'd already given away most of their money. So they were nice in talking to us and saying specifically what they were looking for, but it didn't feel like we were the ones. But thank you for asking.
So you're saying their demands were a little too unreal?
Unreal, yes. The demands were unreal for independent filmmakers.
Right.
It didn't feel like a good fit for independent filmmakers in terms of their grant. I mean, I'm not saying anything about the Unreal Engine product, but if you need LED screens and you don't have access to one, and you're trying to use it the way a lot of people do that we've seen in more inventive ways without those screens, they didn't seem to be interested in opening a new market, which we thought they would be, but we were informed otherwise that wasn't the model they were using. Again, I can't say anything against the people. They were very nice to us, when they spoke, but that seemed to be so. But thank you for asking. No, it didn't seem that thus far it really hasn't worked out. But if there are any changes, I'll let you know. Okay, so I guess we're going to Mark.
Oh, it's my turn?
No, Mark Gershwitz.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Mark.
Hello. Man, it's taken Mark a long time, isn't it?
He's just come in. He just came in the door.
Okay, 'cause I have a question for him.
Okay, well, he'll be right back with you.
Okay, but we can go on to everything else beforehand.
Okay.
So I'm looking around to see if there's anybody new here, but I'm recognizing almost everybody. So my name is Mark. I'm an editor. I've been pretty incredibly busy. I like to say I didn't finally become a successful editor because the work seems to be coming in, kind of pouring in, keeping me busy, getting no sleep, but kind of getting in the way of my website a little bit, which I'm trying to figure my way around. Finishing editing on a short, working on the Space Command stuff, which I gotta hopefully get a couple more things to you guys soon.
Great.
And just a travel show that I got to finish up by the end of December. That plays on the airlines, and a lot of deadlines approaching. My website, under Exposed and Treasures, has slowed down a little bit because I haven't been finding a lot of time, but I need to make sure that starts taking a little bit of precedence just because I'm getting a little bit of notice, and I've actually had podcasts reaching out to me wanting to have me on their show to talk about unseen movies, I guess.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Which would be good. It'll be good exposure. A couple of them I'd never heard of, but I listened to, and they're really good. So I'm looking forward to that. That's kind of most of it. The Space Command things, I'm probably going to get a really good lot of that done next week because I'm going to have some free time next week. If Mark could get me the intro for McCabe or the graphic guy or whatever that we're doing.
Ian McCabe. Yes.
Ian McCabe, just 1 minute at the most because the piece itself is only about a minute and a half.
Great.
We have.
Terrific.
I get slapped on, or not slap it on the front of, but put it on the front of, and then I will be able to have everything except for the Comic-Con out to you guys by the middle of next week, maybe the beginning of next week.
Great.
The trailer things that I know you haven't looked at yet, I'm probably going to put out another version on because I want to put music underneath that opening logo.
Sure.
It was something David Bartlett suggested, and I agree with wholeheartedly, so I've been doing it for all the other videos. I have a question for Mark. It's Mr. Sci-Fi. It's actually more of a Mr. Space Command kind of question.
Sure. So
this weekend at Dark Delicacies, if people aren't going to the comic book convention, they're doing this really cool thing at the Dark Delicacies. It's a bookstore, horror bookstore out here, where a bunch of people are signing novelizations of movies.
That's fun.
One of which, and I really wish I could go, but I can't, but William Malone is signing a copy of his novelization for Titan Find, which most people know of as Creature. But there is a director's called Titan Find. Peter Atkins is going to be there. A bunch of horror screenwriters are going to be there signing this stuff. And that prompted me to wonder if you guys were going to have a novelization of Space Command.
We do. It's already been written. Yeah. It's already in existence.
I don't remember you talking about that.
Yeah, Maya Bonhoff. What?
Mark, you've got to get the newsletter.
You do. And one thing to mention in terms of Dark Delicacies is you can pre-order a signed copy of something. So if you call, you can pre-order. So if you wanted something signed to you, you can call Dark Delicacies prior to that signing event, and they will sign a copy to you. You just have to pre-order it.
Yeah, and I believe you don't even have to call them if you go and you purchase it online, which you should always do anyway, because if you show up, a lot of times they'll be out.
Yes.
You can let them know you're not going to be there because I've been to many of these signings. You can.
They run out.
Adele's wife will always be walking over there with like a stack of books. Can you sign these before you go to the next person?
Right. Yes.
Through all those as well. There's one for Krampus coming out that's completely sold out that the director signed for people. He's not going to be there, but he did a signing anyway. If
That's
anybody
great.
wanted it.
That's fun.
It's a great website. I suggest. I mean, I really want to go to the signing this Saturday, but I have to play Santa Claus for some kids.
Cool.
But it just made me wonder because I don't remember you ever talking about a novelization.
No, we have it. Maya Bonhoff. I worked with her on the second Magic Time novel, and so she's written a full novelization of the pilot, and it actually includes bridging material between the first 2-hour story and the second one, and so that's going to be coming out as soon as we can get it all uploaded on Amazon and so on and so forth. So it's just been one of those things that I haven't had the bandwidth to get to, but it's all written and ready to go. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. No, I was just wondering. All right, I think that's it for me. I've just been really busy getting no sleep. Like I said, my website's slowing down, but now that I have interest in people having me on their podcast to talk about stuff, I got to get back on the ball with that. And it's not that I've been lazy about it. It's just with all this work coming in. And then also having to set apart side for the Space Command stuff and everything. It's been tough, but I think it's going to be worth it in the long run.
Cool.
Once it's all done and I get an hour or two of sleep.
Well, that's good.
Anyway, that's me.
Okay, 3 cheers, Mark Gushowitz. Great. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes. Let's go to Gregory Krug.
Hi, Greg.
With his question.
Excellent.
Any thoughts on Alan E. Norse? Is that the
Yeah. I haven't read a lot of him, a lot of his work, so I don't really have an opinion. I mean, a lot of those sort of mid-range writers of the 50s and 60s, they were very, very solid. And E. Everett Evans and so forth, Murray Leinster, who's largely forgotten now. Murray Leinster, actually, what makes him stand out as distinctive is that when Stephen King was like a teenager, he read a book by Murray Leinster that he thought was awful, and he said, well, I can write better than this. And so that started him writing. So, but there's a lot of guys, I mean, the ones I've read that I really like, I love Ted Sturgeon. I love Clifford Simak. There's Philip K. Dick, of course, Ray Bradbury, Arthur C. Clarke. Isaac Asimov is lesser in my estimation. Heinlein, but I particularly like the Heinlein juveniles. But I just haven't really. Mac Reynolds is another one that I've never gotten around to reading, as is Jack Vance. But so I make it a point to not have an opinion when I don't know what I'm talking about, as opposed to most people. So,
Mark?
Yes.
Leinster wrote things like this, like the Lost,
yes,
like the Land of the Giants.
Yes.
TV tie-ins. What was the story behind these guys who had like what might call real careers? It seems like slumming it writing these things.
Well, they might earn $1,000 to $3,000 for a novel, and and a few $100 for a short story, if they were lucky, maybe even less. And so it was always just a slog. They were having to write all the time, to just get by, to just make their bills. So, if they were approached by Irwin Allen, I mean, Ted Sturgeon did the novelization of Voyage of the Bottom of the Sea, and a lot of people thought that Isaac Asimov wrote Fantastic Voyage as an original novel, when actually he was hired to do the novelization of the movie. And so I think it was, for a lot of these guys, it was just a way to earn. Probably they were paying at least as well, if not better than the novels these guys were writing under their own pen names. I mean, for instance, a lot more people, millions and millions and millions of people were watching Land of the Giants every week, and I would probably say that less than 1% of them knew who Murray Leinster was from his original work. So
do you think they may have been paid more if they wrote it under their real name rather than their pen name? Possibly.
And also the thinking might have been, okay, I'm going to sell a huge number more of these as time travel novels, or the Invaders novels, or whatever. James Blish, a lot of people first came to James Blish because of the Star Trek books that he did. And I think probably their thinking was, well, maybe someone will read this and seek out my other books. And so that was certainly a reason to do it. And, because these guys were not, I mean, Arthur C. Clarke and Heinlein, Ray Bradbury, of course, and Asimov too, became wealthy in their later years because their books hit big as as bestsellers. But that was not the experience with most of these writers. I mean, Poul Anderson, Frederick Pohl, even Larry Niven. They weren't buying islands to retire to, so unless they were traffic islands. So so that answers that question. Let's see who's next on our screen. Bonnie Janowski, why don't you take your turn?
Hi.
Hello to Madam Vice President.
Yes, composer songwriter, but now starting this week, interim vice president at the Musicians Union, Local 47.
Yay! Yeah, I can tell you're already getting
changing.
Yes, power mad. So
yeah, it's very interesting. It's much more interesting than I thought. I'm actually really liking it.
Sure.
Very, very interesting. Meetings and things. The days go quick. As I've mentioned, we right now have a brilliant staff, really.
That's great.
Monday started about 4 new employees. So it's funny because the president of the union hired a while back. She hired an assistant.
Mm-hmm.
The assistant was so brilliant, moved on up to electronic media,
wow,
doing sound recordings.
That's great.
And then the next one is now transitioning to doing live TV or one of the other areas.
That's great.
But it was really funny because someone came in to interview for the presidential assistant. But then when she talked about her background, working with personnel managers with orchestras and setting up rehearsals, they said, "Oh, you're perfect for the vice president. I have the best assistant." So that's really weird. I have this office and big desk and all this, and I have an assistant, and she's brilliant. And I said, "Oh my gosh!"
Wow.
So I just feel really honored, and it just feels really good. And then I'm really helping the union. And as I'm there, I realize, I really do have a lot of the background because I've been on the board for 19 years. And of course, a member longer than that. But I've been really involved a long time. And I was the right person at this time for sure.
That's great.
It's going great. It's just my first week. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely there through January 24th, and then elected for the end of the term through the year. So
that's great.
Keeping me busy, but good.
I think now's the time to start becoming erratic. And what I would suggest you do is start yelling at the top of your lungs, "Where's my cruller?" And when the assistant brings you a cruller, you throw it at their head, screaming, "This is garbage." Okay.
What is a cruller? I don't know.
It's like a donut. It's a pastry. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you know what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Bring me a beignet. That's The more absurd the request, the better. Though I'll tell you a very interesting story about this, and it's a music story. There was a band that had it in their contract that every concert they played in the green room, there had to be a bowl full of one color of M&Ms, just one color specifically. And a lot of people were saying, well, Jesus, it just shows how power mad and crazy they are. But ultimately, someone asked the question of one of the musicians in an interview, well, why did you have? They said, this is the reason. That was a trivial thing. But if we went to our green room, our dressing room, and there was a bowl of one color of M&Ms, it meant that they had actually read everything in the contract, and the things that were important would be done. And so that was a test, a simple visual test that they could do that would tell them that everything that was important would be addressed. So that's very clever, actually.
It is.
That was Van Halen.
Van Halen, there you go.
They talked about it in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, called A Weird Ask.
Yes, and and Van Halen, of course, is in the tradition of other Vans like Van Gogh and Van Dyke and so forth. So
right, And I'll just mention that. If we return to Patty's, that's on the way home from the locals.
That's great. That's great. Well, I think
the locals now right by Burbank Airport. They left Hollywood 4 years ago.
I think what I might do is I might put an email out to the general table email asking when and if people think we should start meeting in person again at Patty's. It's things are so up in the air with all these goddamn.
No, I don't mean now. I mean wait on the line when it's
Yeah.
And not now, but I'm just thinking it's
Sure.
on my path home. But yeah, no, I don't expect it
well, we're
right
hoping
now.
to get
But
we're hoping to
yeah.
get back. I hope this new strain ends up being not that serious, but we'll have
Right.
to see.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anything else, Bonnie?
No, just good to see everybody.
Great. Yay. 3 cheers. Excellent. Wow. That's great. Congratulations. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes. So this one is from Wanseros, and
Hello.
asked it while you were away. So it's technically for Elaine, but it's about you.
Okay,
so
sure.
We'll ask you.
Well, everything's in the long run, everything's about me. Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead, please.
sure.
So what are your biggest geek interests other than spacesuits and ray guns?
Sure. Well, I mean, God, tons and tons and tons of things. I mean, I'll get on like certain kicks. Like for instance, at one point I might want to start collecting, everything around Journey into Space, the Charles Chilton radio show, or I Love a Mystery, which is another great radio show. Or I might, get focused on wanting a certain book. Like I just got this first edition Green Hills of Earth by Heinlein, which is really, really cool. And, I mean, eBay is a godsend for those of us who are collectors of anything because, before eBay, before the internet, you could spend a lifetime searching for something and never find it because it was just so rare. Now you can pretty much go on eBay and find out anything. And so it's very cool in that way. I love collecting things that were actually used. Like I've got parts of I have part of the pyramid from Stargate, things like that Greg Jean gave me. I've got part of the city from Blade Runner. Things like that are of interest to me. It varies. It just depends. Obviously, rare movies, rare books, all that stuff. First, there was a period when I was collecting first edition Victorian writers like Dickens and Wells and H. Rider Haggard. I do that less now because the prices have gone up, and I have other things to spend my money on, like Space Command. But it's just there's no telling. Anything that's of interest to me is of interest to me in any given moment. It's I mean, Guillermo's doing Nightmare Alley, so I just ordered a copy of the book because I've never read it. Stuff like that. My interests are extremely wide and varied. I'm always reading multiple books. Usually one science fiction novel, usually of the past, but I just got the final book in the Expanse series, so I'm going to be reading that because I've read all the other ones. And but I'm also always reading a history book. I just got Stephen Fry's book on Troy, and I'm reading, and I read a lot about World War II just because it's an area of interest, both in fiction and nonfiction. But there's no telling. I mean, it's pretty obvious the things that interest me just based on the stuff I talk about on Mr. Sci-Fi. But something will appeal, or something will interest, or I'll read something that gets me interested in a certain subject. It varies. It varies. So let's see. So next is Michelle Hart, the wonderful Michelle Hart.
Yay!
Yay!
Hi there. The unmuted Michelle Hart.
Yes.
Let's see. First of all, I was thinking, gee, I really ought to apologize for eating while this thing was on, because I was eating chips and guacamole, and I thought, we used to eat all the time.
Yes.
That was the whole purpose of eating it.
Exactly.
Calendars was we were eating while we were doing this.
Yes.
So
you need to stand on. Yeah.
My apology.
No.
Murray Leinster, actually, going back to what you're talking about, Murray Leinster was actually William Fitzgerald Jenkins.
That's right. Right. He was.
And wrote a whole flock of movies.
Wow.
Starting in 1920 and going through 1967, which is a really long career.
Yes.
He wrote a hell of a lot of stuff. So, I mean, it's kind of obvious that some of it would have been cranked out to make a buck.
Yes. Yes.
I did a day's work yesterday, a long day's work, or a long day sitting around waiting to work, background on what is supposedly a new television show called This Fool. And it's going to be on Hulu. I came out of it knowing almost nothing about what it was, except that I was in a very, very small supermarket in East LA in Highland Park over in Figueroa. The story is that there is no way that you can know everything in LA.
Mm-hmm.
You will never see all of the city. You will never see every neighborhood in the city.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting, and it was a union gig, so thank you very much.
It's great.
Is Assad still there, but just not on camera? Or did he leave?
Assad, are you there?
Are you there?
I am still here. I am recording from my phone, so like the camera's shaky. So I just was like, let me just turn it off so it's not shaking for whoever's watching.
Okay.
Well, when and if you get out here, I can connect you, if you do not already know them, to Mark Evanier and Phil Ye and Trina Robbins and probably Floyd Norman as well. I have a lot of connections to the comic business in ways that will become manifest later on there. So if that's of any use to you, fine.
Yeah, that'd be incredible.
I do a whole lot on screenplays, but I do know a lot of people in comics.
That's great. That's great.
So,
thank you.
You're welcome. So, when you get out here, fine.
Cool.
I too am available for table reads. The group that I was reading for years, the New Playwrights Foundation, which was not new, was not just playwrights, but was also screenplays, somehow are now reading bits of novels, which means that I'm pretty much kind of not interested in doing that. I mean, it's good exercise for me to read, I guess, but I've had other things coming up then. So if anybody's got plays to read or screenplays to read, I'm available. Carol Field and I both like reading stuff.
Cool.
Let's see. As far as going back to Patty's and live meetings,
yes,
I think if we do the same sort of stuff that they do in the studios now, that we would be cool with that.
Oh,
you have to show that you have been vaccinated.
Yes.
You have to. This time they made me actually show my vaccine card.
Wow, good.
I'm going to be boosted on Monday, so I will be impervious to everything in the world, I guess, at that point.
Let's hope.
Except maybe this new gig.
Yes.
But anyway, if we do, you can't get in unless you show proof of vaccination.
Yes.
It will make the Patty's people happy, and God knows it will make us happy to be actually in the same room together at some point.
That's great. That's a good idea, and I think we'll put that out there, and maybe we'll resume after the holidays, and that might make a lot of sense. So we'll put.
I must say I feel safer in the studios and on a set than I do out in the regular world. Because everybody is protected there. They are really super careful about everything, to the point where periodically somebody runs around with squirts of hand sanitizer, and you hold out your hands, like a beggar, and they give you squirts of sanitizer. But anyway, other than that, I am still waiting to hear from an agent whose agency I interviewed with. I thought I was going to see the head cheese a couple of weeks ago, and he was not available, but I met with 3 people who were in his office, and they apologized that he was out on some sort of personal whatever it was. I've since spoken to him on the phone twice, and he has apologized that he has not yet gotten to see the tape that I made in the office, although I believe he has seen my reels, because that's how I got the interview. And so I haven't heard no yet.
That's good.
Nobody said no yet. So as far as I know, it's still on the fire. And that's kind of all I got to say.
Okay, 3 cheers. Yay. Excellent. So, Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, we have a Mark Lungo question.
Hello, Mark.
He says, as people who have written a lot of action adventure stories, do you think fictional violence contributes to real life violence? And if so, how much and what can be done?
I think one has a responsibility not to put irresponsible behavior out to an audience. I think you have to be very careful and very mindful. I think that perpetuating stereotypes is also extremely bad, where Latinos are only gangsters, Italian guys are only gangsters, Black people are only gangsters. It's like this is not accurate and it's not appropriate. And so violence, I think, is the same way. I think you have to be careful of it. That doesn't mean not to use it, because humans are, there is violence in the world, but I think a lot of times writers default to violence as a lazy solution, and I think one really needs to kind of examine that. And the Space Command episode that we're rewriting will be looking at war from an extremely specific viewpoint, the notion that the enemy is not the enemy, war is the enemy, the notion of war is the enemy. And so that will be very fun to dig in on and talk about and reflect on and dramatize. So there you go. So next I see Earl F. Smith. Hello, Earl. How are you doing?
Great. How are you guys?
Good.
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 I have been away. I've been busy.
Good.
Trying to hustle to get students. Since I got COVID, I've lost quite a few students. So I've been hustling to get more, which it's been working well.
Cool.
So Earl F. Smith here, multi-award winning film composer, sound editor, sound designer. I just finished another film. The audio was pretty bad, so I ended up pretty much replacing all the audio except for the dialogue.
Wow.
Doing a lot of cleaning in the dialogue.
Golly.
Like I tell a lot of prospect people, I don't care if it's a nobody film or it's a big people's film. I'm going to treat it the same way.
Yes.
It needed that. And the writers who hired me, and the director, this is the first time working with this director, and I told her, and it took a little bit of time, more time than expected. But once I sent them the final mix, they were pretty shocked, and the writer gave me a bonus, so he paid me extra, which is nice.
That's great.
That's great.
So they're supposed to send me another film the end of the month, so I'll be looking for that. And I have another one of his films, which I'm going to start writing here after I finish this solo voice piece. I've been trying to get together. I started taking composition lessons from one of the lecturer professors at UC Davis, set up by the graduate advisor. That has been fun. One, because it's put me in touch with some of my early composition classes that, over 20 years, it kind of drifts a little. So it's been a lot of fun, but I'm also considering not applying hitting this deadline, waiting another year and releasing a lot more music. So I'll have some residual income coming in while I'm in the school. I think there's enough time to still work on other projects, but I'm a little nervous about that.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, Faith got selected for, at her school, the music teacher, they get to choose one student to be, that they can be a prospect for this program where the child goes on this competition and the best selected are performing Carnegie Hall in a chamber group and a full orchestra. So we looked at that today. So the teacher said, I want to choose you. So she's killing it. Faith is doing really well.
That's
the
great.
Sacramento Philharmonic, one of the celloists, off the recording I posted of her on Facebook playing solo violin, contacted me and asked if she could be in one of her selected chamber groups for young kids.
That's great.
And so there's 3 people in the chamber group, and she only selected 4 chamber groups out of all of Sacramento. So there's 4 groups, so people in each group. So that performance is actually going to be January 5th and the 7th. So she's working on that. I'm trying to whoop her in shape.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's great.
Thank you. So, that's been it with me.
Okay.
I'm bummed. David Recklin sent me an email and with David Bartlett saying if I want to go to Comic-Con, I wanted to go, but I don't know. It's the bummer of moving up here.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well,
I watched your video, guys. I watched the videos you post, Mark, and they look like a great time.
Yeah.
You could go this weekend.
Yeah. It's LA Comic-Con, you know.
I can't get away yet.
Nah. I understand, Earl. Well, it's always good to see you, and anything you need, always let us know. So, okay.
Awesome.
Okay. 3 cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Excellent. So, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes. Our next question is another Juan Suros question.
Great.
He wants to know whatever happened to mad scientists in sci-fi.
That's an interesting question. You know, it's a really fun character to write, and you can have them be villains or you can have them be allies. I mean, Chris Lloyd's character in Back to the Future is one for the ages, of course. I mean, you know, you just have to make sure that it fits the storyline, and you don't want to have it be a stereotypical character. I mean, one thing that I've noticed in a lot of science fiction films in terms of scientists and a lot of other projects, TV and film projects, is often with astronauts, with scientists, they get them wrong, because every scientist that I personally know from NASA and JPL and everywhere, you know, any scientist I've ever met, particularly space scientists, they're filled with curiosity and enthusiasm. They're extremely funny. They have great senses of humor, and that enthusiasm, because they talk about, well, you know, going to Mars is so dangerous. You know, scientists were willing to take those risks because what they're doing is so exciting and so interesting. And, you know, so I think it's very rare that you get that even in science fiction and particularly television science fiction. But I think the movie The Martian really did really get it. And so again, I think it goes back to, I like the more that I meet people in real life and can utilize them in my work, the better, because that way you're not writing the cliche, you're drawing from the real example, and the real example is almost always more interesting and more varied. And so, you know, so have I written mad scientists? I'm sure I have, you know, given how much I've written. But you know, the trick with any character is to say, okay, what makes them interesting, and you want to really go there. And so, you know, so that's the thing of it. So let's see. So now I guess it's Elaine. Wonderful Elaine. Yay, Elaine, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Go for it.
Just okay, just keeping busy. I've been following the same advice that I just gave to Carol about looking for agents and managers. These were you know, going in several different directions, and including in terms of getting Space Command home. And so we're starting to talk to people, which has been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because we did backward engineer, and we're talking to people who are pretty appropriate.
Yes.
And gearing up to finish 101 and 102.
The first 2 hours of Space Command.
With the wild help of our team, because it's quite a push.
1,800 visual effects shots. Yeah.
So, but we're putting together the final pieces and looking, and now that it's almost together, we can like wash it through and say, okay, what's really working, what's not quite working, which you don't see when you're piecing it together. You just can't see when you're piecing it together. But when you roll it all the way out, you say, wow, that's better than I thought. Wow, that's a lot worse than I thought. So, but the great thing about film is you can keep fixing it and fixing it and fixing it. So I'm glad we have a team of people who really care, who give a damn, which I think is the worst sin in film. Not incompetence, I don't think is the worst sin in film. I think the worst sin in storytelling is not caring. But so just rolling along and keeping incredibly busy.
Yes. Yay. Yay us. 3 cheers. Is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, we have one more Scott Baker question.
Great. Hi, Scott.
And it's kind of a well, you'll figure it out. But you've been on Dr. Demento, right? Or not Demento? What's that one radio show?
Coast to Coast.
What was that?
Coast to Coast.
it's kind of in that vein.
Sure. Go for it.
So he says, I may have hallucinated, but didn't our military reveal evidence of recent unidentified aerial phenomenon?
Yes.
What happened to that story?
they're still, it's still coming out. I mean, yes, for the first time ever, the government released military videos of UFOs, and they said these are UFOs, and they seem to be exhibiting aerodynamic capabilities that are far beyond anything we've got. I mean, who knows? But it was very cool that they admitted that. I think we'll see where it leads. I'm very much a skeptic when it comes to UFOs, because I personally think that if a UFO had crashed and we'd reversed engineered that technology, I mean, Christ, we'd have warp drive and whatever, anti-gravity, you name it. I don't think Teflon is proof that they're UFOs, frankly. And so we'll see. But I found those videos wonderful and exciting, and I wait to see what is revealed. It's going to be fun. So now it's me, wonderful me, yay! So so basically things are great. Things are going great. We're still moving forward on Space Command. We've shot 5 hours. We're shooting the 6th now. We're ramping up to shoot more in January. We're shipping 101 and 102, as Elaine mentioned. Thanks so much to Dave Edison and Mark Gushowitz and Adam and David Bartlett and just everybody who's working on it. I mean, it's a lot of people working on it here and in other countries, and we're getting it. We're slaying this beast. Meantime, as Elaine mentioned, we're meeting with agents at CAA and managers with Zero Gravity and other firms, and a lot of my friends have been recommending me to their representation, which is good. And we'll see where it leads, but so far so good. If anyone wants to see the pitch video we have on the Showrunners Network, just go on Mr. Sci-Fi. I posted it a couple weeks back, and you can see what we're really up to. Greenlighting Yourself is with the publishers now. I have to reach out to them. I want to record the audiobook and haven't gotten around to it yet. And the issue 2 of the Space Command comic is going to be out very, very soon, as soon as I can write the few pages of text that are needed. And it's just more and more fun. I mean, it just keeps going. I just bought a spaceship console from Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, and it lights up and all sorts of stuff. And I also got a cloning chamber from the Philip K. Dick Electric Dreams series. They just had a Black Friday sale at the prop store, and so that was I mean, $180 for a cloning chamber. I mean, who wouldn't want that? So but so everything's moving along. We're doing it. We're slaying this creature. So meantime, everything's exciting. I'm looking forward to the holidays. It's very nice to have Elaine in my life and these crazy dogs and all of you, and I have no complaints of any kind. I'm just happy to be here. If you want to see something fun that I recently got, as Alien and Aliens are 2 of my favorite movies, and there was a fan prop makers league, and they had a table at San Diego Comic-Con, and one of them had made a copy of Dallas's jacket in Alien, and it was gorgeous, and it was made from British flight suits that are no longer available. They're from the 60s, and it takes 2 flight suits to make this one jacket. And so I got it, and it's really swell. So if you want to see me wearing it in a backdrop of the Nostromo from Alien, check out Mr. Sci-Fi. It's cool. And I'm also doing these Twilight Zone minutes where I record a minute on each Twilight Zone episode. I've just restarted doing those, so I just posted a new one. And things are cool. Things are exciting, and and David Bartlett has been working with this cat carrier that I bought to turn it into a space helmet. I don't know if you brought it back from the studio yet, David, but it'll be fun when we get that thing finished. Yeah, well, next week. So that'll be fine. And but basically we're moving ahead. I mean, life is sure interesting, I'll tell you. And it's a great. But one thing I must say is that when you have a studio and when you're making something of quality, people start treating you differently because, I mean, to have J.J. Abrams and Guillermo del Toro and all these friends of mine recommending me their representation and having those managers and agents treat us extremely seriously is great. And it all comes from what we're doing. We're making the show. We're not waiting to be picked. And I think that's very, very important. I don't know if we'll lock down decent representation, and I don't know. It was funny. There's a former studio executive who goes to the dog park that I go to every afternoon, and he and I were talking, and he was talking about an alternative method of setting these shows up that would involve shooting the show and going to AFM and selling it worldwide. And he's saying, why would you want to sell all this to Netflix? Who's going to take all the rights? And so he asked me to email him, the first hour of Space Command. And I just did, and he's rep by UTA, so maybe they'll have an idea that's interesting. But I'm open to all this stuff. It's certainly fun, and no complaints. So that's, I guess, about it for now. We're gonna be back next week as always. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving, and stay safe, stay well. It's really, really fun. And again, and also, by the way, remember, just a word to the wise, because David was mentioning the TV Academy and becoming a member of that. The Science Fiction Writers of America has categories where you can join even if you're not a published novelist. So if you ever want to join that group, it's the novelists, and it's really cool. They give out the Nebula Awards, and so there's a lot of ways to kind of rub shoulders with a lot of very, very famous and creative people. So
Mark,
yeah.
Can you expand on that? You said Netflix is taking all the rights now?
Yes, including ancillary merchandising. Apparently it's a complete buyout. And they only run their TV series for a few seasons. So again, the chance of building a science fiction franchise where it can last for decades. The problem is that when you have 500 TV shows, it's extremely difficult to get an ongoing fan following. A few shows have managed to do that, but it's tricky. And and then of course sometimes they just screw their own franchise, like Game of Thrones did with that finale, and but again, it's there's no reason to even think about that stuff until there's a deal on the table, because if they're offering me hundreds of millions of dollars, then that's a conversation, and if they're just trying to screw me, then no. But again, Elaine and I have been around the blocks long enough to recognize when something's a good deal versus a bad deal. And something I always say is, owning 10% of something is better than owning 100% of nothing. And a lot of people don't recognize that, and so they'll hold out for this dream deal that never happens. As a result, they'll say no to things that actually could have moved them forward and brought them money. So so again, I don't have to worry about that now.
Is the competitors doing the same type deal like Amazon Prime?
No, they're not. And so it just again depends on who the buyer is and what the deal is. And so all I can do is make the best quality show I can for the money I have at hand. And and then but for me, doing the show is the reward, getting it out to an audience, having people love it. So I've already succeeded at my goal with Space Command. And so if we manage to get our foot in the door with Netflix or Amazon or HBO Max or Paramount Plus or any of these guys, the goal is to sell a series to legitimize us with the buyers. And but I'm creating a new model for how TV is made and sold, and I don't know if something's going to work until it works. And so but I certainly love this way of doing things, and I would not go back to the old way when I started in the industry and there were 3 networks and you had to work with studios and the networks because there was no other way of getting television made and out to an audience. I love this new world we live in. Oh, by the way, one thing I forgot, we lost, Stephen Sondheim passed away this past week, and he was a brilliant composer and lyricist and so forth. And and he did the lyrics for West Side Story and so forth. But if you want to see a real rarity of his, he did a black and white TV version, an original musical for television in 1967 called Evening Primrose. It starred Anthony Perkins of Psycho, and it was based on a short story by John Collier, the British writer, where a poet who's bummed out by humanity decides to sneak into a department store and live there secretly. And when he gets there, he discovers that there's a secret society that's living undetected in the department store. And if you step out of line, you get turned into a mannequin. And it was certainly the inspiration for the Twilight Zone episode, The After Hours, which Rod Serling wrote. But if you want to see this musical, it's on YouTube. So just type in Evening Primrose and you'll find it. The entire hour-long musical. So if you're curious about this Sondheim rarity, it's worth checking out. And yeah, it's a treat to see Anthony Perkins sing, because he actually has a good singing voice. So there you go. So great. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see you next time, and you know where I am. So so thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, and bye, my Mr. Sci-Fi friends. Talk soon. Bye.